Well, good morning, and
Good morning.
gosh, it's been a minute since we've hung out. Now, people don't know that because I just uploaded 3 videos last week. It's a little behind. It's got a little busy. I don't know what's going on there,
What's
but
going on in your world, Bruce?
well, there's a lot, Raj. We're building a 30 by 40 shop, which I got all the windows in.
I
Looks really
saw.
good. That's cool. And I figured out how to frame the front gable. So I've got two 10-foot doors coming in for that. And then I'm going to frame it up about 9 feet so that there'll be a storage from 9 feet to 16 feet going
Okay.
up
Yeah,
just above the window,
that'll be
just above the
awesome.
window line.
Yeah.
So we'll have room for stuff, which of course
So you're building bigger barns.
we are, Roger. And that feels somehow backhanded. Was that Jesus story is that where you want to go today?
Well,
I mean, was there a
I'm
song?
all about Jesus. I'm just bringing everything back around to
That's
Jesus.
all the lumber. That's all the lumber. That's all the lumber you sent. No, but figuring out, because that's the only load bearing thing that's going to happen in the whole thing. So figuring out how to get everything where it's up and there's load bearing things and like a truss system, because it's got to run a 15-foot span where the cars come in at the doors.
Uh-huh.
So I have one post in the center
Right.
with spans going out on both sides 15 feet. And I've got a plan for making that work. Very excited. But that's not what we're here to talk about. Hey, what'd you find out about the backhoe yesterday? They were like in and out Monday, but I don't know, or Tuesday or whatever day.
Well, the thing they wanted to get done, which is actually part cleaning and part creating a new priming system for
Yeah,
the fuel, did great. But what they expected was
now do something else.
well, the fuel pump is really just corrupted. I mean, it just gets so much crap and crud. And then he would highly recommend replacing the injectors as well,
Hmm.
just because the same thing.
They're gonna have stuff in them.
Right. But he feels like you get that done. The other thing he
It's like a
commented,
new backhoe.
well, he said he thinks, and this guy knows backhoes. I mean, it is unbelievable. It's like he invented this
Oh
thing.
yeah,
The way
it's
he was
crazy.
talking about it was just every intricacy. But he was saying, yeah, that machine, he said, I checked like all your bushings everywhere, any of the moving parts, they all look super. They're
Yeah,
not worn, they're
tires look
not
brand new.
tires look brand new. He said, I think you might have 1,000 hours on that.
That's nuts.
And this is from somebody who
No, it's true.
knows anyway. Um, and just so you know, he sounded like he was also open to like, have you ever needed machinery fixed or something,
Oh yeah, I'll let him fix the hydraulic at the steering wheel.
I mean,
That's the only thing on the tractor that I don't want to really get into,
yep,
hydraulics. They all work, but there's a little bit of a leak at the steering wheel because the power steering is also connected to the hydraulics. The clutch is connected. Everything is
right.
hydraulic on that tractor. So
Listen to us talking all big machinery
tractoring.
and hydraulics and
Well, it's been a long time since we've been able to
the
hang out.
Pastords are really, really into big machinery.
I've been traveling. Roger has not. So there's all of that. But I'm back until this weekend. We all go to Florida this weekend. Very excited about
We
that.
are going to Florida, yes.
Um,
Where I'll play golf, my once a year golf,
yep,
essentially.
yep. I played three
Why I was
rounds.
wearing my golf shirt.
The Masters Panic. Yeah, I played 3 rounds last week with the boys.
I don't want to hear about it. You won two of the three.
No, I didn't win any of them. I tied one. Let's say lost the first day, tied the second day, and had a terrible front nine on the last day. Like terrible.
Ah,
But then I shot like 43 on the back. So I beat everyone on the backside. So
okay.
it was productive. And you're learning. I mean, you only play a
It's
couple times a year.
productive.
You're trying to learn how to hit the ball again. Like literally, you're like, I don't know where this thing is going. I just want to make contact.
But you had 3 days, and on the third day, your opening nine was crap.
Yeah, that sometimes happens. You just can't.
Right.
It was the
That's
toughest. It
golf.
was the toughest course we played all week. It looked very tight. Like the other real open. This was like
And that just messes with you.
you're having to hit it through a hallway. You're like, I don't think I can do that. I don't feel good about doing that.
Right.
That does not seem like something I would do
Right.
on a regular basis. So, but you know, what's fun is I just don't care. I enjoy playing. I enjoy the obviously like I enjoy it more if I'm playing well, but I enjoy, watching other people win.
So no clubs were damaged
Oh
in
gosh, no.
the
No,
in the commencing of this
and
game.
because my mood, this whole like get off refined sugar thing, it's a mood stabilizer. I had no idea. Sugar was
Okay.
making me a crazy man. So it's like now I'm
Oh
not.
gosh, had we known so many years
Can you
ago.
imagine the
Get
last
Bruce
50 years
off
of
the
your
sugar.
life would have been totally different.
It
Telling
was
you
it was refined sugar.
the whole time. I mean, because I don't think it's much refined flour. I'll have a few flours, but no.
Refined all bad,
No, I
huh?
will say this though. I weighed last week and I was down to 159, and I'm like, okay, now we're getting a little too much. So I added some more carbs to the diet. I'm putting some more carbs, not refined or processed carbs.
159. I so hate you.
It
Yeah.
looks ridiculous. I'm like, holy, I haven't weighed that since the Carter administration. It's a different,
Literally.
it's a different,
Literally.
literally, it's a different game. So, um, yeah, very excited. Are we going to try a podcast next week with Marie?
Well, just the fun of making her uncomfortable is right,
It's
just
worth everything.
right.
It matters.
I'm open to whatever you want to do. It's yes.
We'll see what happens.
We'll,
We'll play it by
we'll
ear.
just see what happened.
We'll see how it goes. So glad to be back. I chose a song this week very intentionally.
It's a deep song.
Deep
This
song.
one is one of the we just go, yeah.
That really was your take on it. I thought it was pretty shallow, personally. Very simple lyric.
It is the shallowest thing.
All
No,
right,
I would say probably the lightest song we've done, which I like the variety.
absolutely.
I do.
So 1972,
I was 11.
one hit wonder by a group called Gallery, which you or I and everyone else has never heard of. But they had this great little song, and it's an earworm. I mean, it gets in your head and you can't get it out, which is "It's So Nice to Be With You."
And what's funny, I saw or read that it they played it on Dick Clark's bandstand,
Really? American Bandstand.
American Bandstand, and it got a lousy rating. I mean, like there was actually a lousy like,
Yeah. It has a kind of the monkey sound.
but then it soared. It went to one on several charts
Wow.
internationally, five on the Billboard Top 100. Was on the charts 22 weeks, which tied for the second, I think it was, which is the second most that in 1972. So it ended up being
It turned into a thing.
enormously popular. But even a word about like something on the show, it just didn't seem to take.
That's interesting.
But I've seen that happen other times,
Well, and I think this is why the song did so well. It's likable. It's just so the song goes, "Oh,
Oh,
it's
it's
so
so
nice
nice
to
to
be
be
with
with
you.
you.
I
I
love
love
all
all
the
the
things
things
you
you
say
say
and
and
do.
do.
And it's so
So
nice
nice
to
to
hear
hear
you
you
say
say
that
that
you're
you're
gonna
gonna
please
please
me
me
in
in
every
every
way.
way.
Honey, I
I
got
got
the notion
you're
you're causing
causing
commotion
commotion
in
in
my
my
soul.
soul.
And so the reason I chose the song was I've been doing this little just personal study on likability right now.
This person,
Now, I realized as I get older, there are people. Okay, so this is the thing. There are people that have it, and there are people that don't have it.
wait, can it be taught?
Yes,
Is
that's
it?
that's my argument. I got into a long, long discussion on this with one of the guys on my I-3 trip on the Appalachian Trail
Okay, good.
because he doesn't believe likability can be taught. He's like, you either got it or you don't. And I'm like, no, I think it can be taught. I think it'll be harder on certain personalities because of the way they're wired. But here's what because I look at things that you do, I look at things that I do, and I'm like, oh, whether we're thinking about it or not, those make us very likable people. And it's not true for everyone. So then I also began to look at, I'm not throwing it on the bus, I just was analyzing it. Why is certain things which that certain people do not likable? Now, it's not like sinful or wrong or anything, but you're like, you just don't like that. Or
But what's also
it makes it
fascinating,
hard to be around them.
what's also fascinating, because it almost sounds like you're saying there is a standard measurement of likability.
And yes, here's what it is.
Well, but I might push back on that because likability at some level is even in the same way to me that
Uh-huh.
beauty, there are some people I mean, that beauty is very, people's idea of what is beautiful, let's say, in a guy or a gal can be wildly different. Can't that also be true about likability? In other words, there's
Wait,
certain,
wait to hear my definition. I
okay,
can't wait to see what you think.
all right, go. This is, see,
So,
we're unscripted.
so
This is,
this is the
I have no
fundamental,
idea where he's going.
that's the fundamental thought process. In any interaction that you have with another human being, that person either feels better about themselves or worse about themselves after that interaction. Now, I realize there's space for neutral.
Neutral. Okay. Go.
Okay. And I don't know how wide that band is, but I do know that people that are likable don't settle for neutral, and they certainly don't settle for negative. They want, when they leave an interaction with a person, they want that person to feel better about themselves.
But raise the question that, to me, is then something like, is likability something that it exudes, or you have that you're conscious of? I go into, I mean, do you go into interactions? I want to be likable today.
I don't have to think about it.
Okay.
But I had to analyze, all right, what comes naturally to me
Right.
that may not come natural to. In other
Right.
words, part of the reason I get asked to do counseling and coaching and speaking and other things is people like me.
Right.
We want to have you back. We like you. Everybody
Right.
likes you. All right. So some of it is, well, let me talk about one of the things that you're great at that makes you likable. It's one of what I
Oh,
consider one of your highest likability characteristics.
this is such a great podcast.
You ask curious questions. And when you ask curious questions of other people, I want to know about you. I want to know about your life. I want to know about what you care about. I want to know about what makes you happy. People like that.
That's, I, yes.
Unless they're in a really bad space. And then, of course, you're sensitive to that too. Hey, this isn't the time to ask curious questions about this might be a time to be present. But as a general rule, so I thought about even going to Florida next week because we have friends and family and grandkids, and there's so many people there, 20, 30 people at a time. But Roger, you'll see him underneath the canopy, and he's always talking to someone. And when I say talking, he's communicating, but he's doing more listening than anything. And he's asking them questions about what they think, what they're experiencing. Tell me about your life. Tell me about your kids. Tell me about your parenting. Tell me about.
Yeah,
And it's super likable.
Here's the thing, and here's what's fascinating. It's funny you say that. Like, that's one of the things I'm looking forward to about Florida. In other words, you just said it, sitting under the canopy and hearing, just become more and more fascinated. And part of this is, I don't know how many years I was just so obsessed with me.
Well, let me count them for
right there, but it's funny that God has done this thing. Like, I'm far more interested now in hearing people's stories and finding out more than telling mine. I'm not saying there's no place for mine,
yeah.
And it's not any.
Well, frankly,
mine doesn't
you have
matter.
less to tell.
It's true. It's not as. But
Roger, what have you done in the last year of your life?
I sold some more stuff.
Sold some stuff. I love it. No, but it's something I have to work harder at than you do. So there are certain things about my likability that are natural.
Yeah.
But I am more apt to talk about myself.
Okay.
I mean, I'm more fascinated with myself.
Yeah, and I think that's true, right?
Hey, let's talk
the fact
about,
you can say that is great.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's talk about ourselves. Why don't I start? So it's that. I've learned that from you and Bobby Gordon. So I'll watch you guys both come into interactions and you're asking questions. And here's the thing, you're genuine. That's another likability factor. You can't fake this. I mean, you need to be genuinely interested in their answers. Because I have watched people that ask a person a curious question and then they're like on their phone or they're engaged in another sort of mini conversation. I'm like,
or 3 seconds in, they're interrupting the story.
Yeah, I'm like,
oh, I had something similar and I did this.
Yeah, it's not likable. In fact, it makes so that was, to me, that was the fundamental. And again, I don't know if I'm right on this. It's something I'm working through, but the fundamental, do people leave an interaction feeling better about themselves or worse about themselves? You definitely don't want them to feel worse about themselves. At the very least, you want them to have a neutral impression. Like, I don't necessarily feel anything positive or negative about myself. Although I don't even know if that's possible. When we interact with anybody, I think something happens. Even little things, like you're interacting with a person at a store, or like I was just noticing this yesterday. I was walking down the street, and when I'm walking down the street and someone's walking the other way, I have a little thing going on in my mind. Does that person want me to say hi or not?
Okay.
So you're watching their face and you can't totally tell. And then I'm like, hey, morning. And then they look at you like you're a complete idiot. And what happens is I leave that interaction feeling worse about myself or worse about my day. It's when I say worse, I don't mean like catastrophic.
Right.
It can be an infinitesimal percentage of feeling worse. So,
But the ironic beauty there is 99 to 1, they feel a bit better.
and that's the key. I mean, that's what
Right.
you want another person to leave that interaction feeling even 1%
Right.
better. So what I liked about the song, and this is what made me think about it, says, it's so nice to be with you. I love all the things you say and do. Likability is saying, likability is doing.
Okay.
Likability is seeking to please another person. This person, I like to be with you because, you want to please me in every way. Now, by the way, that's not possible. I mean, this is a
I was
very overly dramatic, romantic
right.
song.
Right. A little what's the
It's so nice to hear you say you're going
it's
to
over
please
the
me.
top.
It's over the top.
Everything is beautiful. We're gonna live forever because there's line in
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
I'll never get tired. It's just always gonna be dumplings and roses, you know.
So I wanted to see, and again, unscripted, right? Roger, I'm asking you, what do you think are characteristics of likability from people that you've watched or experienced?
Well, I would say, and this gets at the saying hi, or I think it's joy. People,
Yeah.
joy um, is very infectious. It's in somewhat short supply, and I think sometimes kind of like we can lift people's spirits.
Yes.
We can pass on joy. So I think about um, yeah, joy is catchy, and I mean it's contagious, and so it's
And it's something that people want to be around.
yes.
So I've been watching the Martin Short documentary, which has
Oh,
been
I've wanted yes,
fascinating.
I've been wanting to start that.
So
Yeah,
it says it's just called, Martin, Life is Short.
yeah.
But I thought he had one of the greatest compliments came from one of his good friends, Steve Martin. He said, Marty lives from a place of pure joy.
Mhm.
And then he says this. Let me put it this way. Let's say you're having a party and you invite Marty and he can't be there. You cancel the party.
Right.
Because
I saw that quote.
oh
Yeah,
yeah, his likability
yeah,
factor is so high, and it's because he brings joy to other people. And a lot of that is through humor. So that's the other thing I realized. And I realized not everyone's funny, but you realize there are certain people that I love to be around just because I love to hear them laugh.
hmm
So I was thinking like one of the guys in our small group, Robert Hereford. You know Robert.
Rob, yeah.
Oh my gosh, when I can make him laugh, it just makes me laugh.
Right.
He's got this hearty, he's a big old farmer, and he's just got a great laugh, and it's
Yeah.
just great. So that's that thing of joy is contagious. So even if I'm not the one making someone laugh or saying something funny, I can get tickled watching other people laugh.
Yep.
And it's infectious. So and that is another thing that I look forward to around, the canopies in Florida, because we have tents and canopies everywhere. There's a lot of laughter, and it's this contagious thing. So
But it's also so yeah, laughter is one part of it, but there's this other part that even in more serious that that joy is this kind of someone is seeing light and life even in the darkness.
yes.
Um, because just times it just feels like the world is chaotic or darkness is winning or whatever. And you have people that don't blow by that. So joy is not, but is not denial, but it's like, oh, I know some things in their life suck right now, but they're grateful and they're positive and they're hopeful and they listen and so this subtle kind of joy that's even this that I often attach oddly with maybe not oddly with contentment.
Yep. Yep.
I'm resting in the good things that I have. Um, as Sheryl Crow says, not having what you want, but wanting what you've got.
What you got?
Where again, and this kind of contentment and then joy that just comes out of that. I'm satisfied. I'm in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I even saw it's a movie line. I can't remember the movie, but I thought it was so good. It might have been in the series Shrinking, the one about psychiatrists and their world.
I haven't seen
And
that.
Harrison Ford is in it. Yeah, Harrison Ford is in it.
Oh,
It didn't capture
okay,
me. I watched like first 30 minutes of it and then just kind of bailed out.
okay.
But in this thing, at one point, I think Harrison Ford's character says, "You shouldn't pursue happiness." He said, "Pursue contentment and enjoy the happiness that
That
flows from that."
follows.
And
Yep,
I'm like,
yep.
that that'll preach right there. Because I think contentment is contentment is a likability thing. If you're around a person that's envious, and by that I mean because sometimes people come across negative because of what they don't have or they're not experiencing. And so you find you don't even realize it, but you're sort of gravitating away from that person because it's like it feels like it's like sucking energy out of you, but it's because they want more or they don't have enough or life isn't fair in the sense of what I have is not equal to what others have or the pain that I carry or the losses that I carry is not equal to the losses that other carry. Whatever that is, but it's just a joy stealer.
And people that are content, I mean, one thing that they're just it's you're just not gonna they're not gonna be controlling.
Well, think about it. They're easier to be around
Right.
because they're not going to be controlling.
Because they don't have to control. There's not, it was like controlling when you're just sensing people are controlling, or even they're trying to
Yeah.
control you or, um, or even, um, coerce or guilt or pressure there are people that, yeah, you're just not feeling pressure around. Um, or like that person has got to change you to have joy or to be content or
So this is another thing I thought about. I need to write all these things down while they're fresh,
write them down.
but some of it is lowering your expectations for others and raising your expectations for yourself. So I used to come to Florida with expectations. Like I want to experience these things with people, whether that's golf or that's conversation or that's bocce on the beach, whatever it is. But you can inadvertently almost put pressure on other people's
Yeah,
other people to meet
sure.
your expectation, and then it becomes not as likable. But if you come in curious, and here's I got to give props to mom on this. I learned this from mom. I don't know if she said it to all of us. I think she did. But she said, Bruce, be flexible, be flexible, be flexible. And that stuck with me because I realized a likability factor. People that are super particular, it's got to be a certain way all the time. And if there's any shift or change that really throws them off, it's not as likable. And it's not that you don't like them. I'm just saying when you're flexible, people appreciate that. Like, hey, do you want to go this? Oh gosh, no, I absolutely cannot eat seafood. Oh, well, how about Mexican? Oh, I'm on an anti-Mexican diet right now. Could we do Chinese? Oh, Chinese is terrible on my stomach.
MSGs. Ooh.
At a certain point, you stop asking. I mean, you're just like, I'm not going to eat with you. Okay,
Right.
that's why don't you tell us where we're going to eat? No, no, no. You can pick the place. That happens all the time with people. I'm like, no, I can't pick the place. I've tried it 3 times. It has not gone well.
Try me on another one.
But I realized flexibility is a likable characteristic. So I realized, like this last conference I was at, they had to move my speaking times around like 8 times because they had one keynote speaker that couldn't be there. So they're trying to fill those slots, and they had to move it around for when other people were coming in because not everyone was
Hmm.
going to be there for the whole 3 days. So like 4 times they moved where I was going to be speaking. Hey Bruce, is this okay? We're going to move you off this. You're not going to do the opener, but you're going to do the opener on Friday. But on Thursday you're just going to do a late night session, and then I'm like, yep, that'll be great. And then 2 weeks later, it's like, all right, hey, we got a new person coming in. This person's not going to be with us. Can you do the closing keynote, and can you change your middle one to right after lunch? Sure, be great. And it was interesting. The event planner afterwards just sent me a wonderful note. She said, "You were like the easiest person to work with and the most encouraging person that I work
Really?
with in this whole process." And I was like, ding, ding, ding. It's a likability thing when you're flexible because you're not, there's a lot of do's and don'ts here. You're not creating stress for other people, even if the thing that you're doing is going to create a little bit of stress for you. Does that make
Right.
sense?
Sure.
there are times where I'm going, that's gonna be a little harder for me, but that's okay because I don't want that person to feel like they're putting me out. And so what I do work hard at not being like super particular.
And you maybe I think you're touching on one thing that is just about that Roger has to work at. So the world does not revolve around me. And I'll
Yeah,
still, which I have all these moments,
working on
particularly when
that.
I'm driving. A couple days ago, is it like just like that phrase get this a reminder the world does not this person is not in this lane, should not
Isn't
be driving
isn't
this.
it true?
But it's where wait, what why am I centering or even the belief that I'm going to be happier if everything's going my way? Actually, Jesus would say, you know what really brings some happiness is giving something up so somebody else. And I found Jesus was right on that. It's a funny thing
Yeah,
that where
yeah.
actually where Jesus would say, put the needs of others, just like Jesus did. Other think about what others. So actually, when you're going to Florida or you're going to work or you're in a neighborhood or
Are you going to an event or a party?
right, you're thinking like what might benefit other. You're when you go in just not thinking about how people are going to respond to me. I wonder if people are
Yes.
going to where I'm going. I wonder how this person is feeling. And I make other people the center. And here's the thing: there's not only is it likable, but it gives you joy. In reality, it's pushing back against a false narrative that you'll be happier when everything in the world is going your way.
It,
BS.
it's not true. So here's the another thing that's counterintuitive about likability in line with what you're saying. You don't want to go to an event, a party, a gathering, a thing, wondering if people will like you.
Yeah.
It's because it'll actually create some unlikability
Right.
characteristics. Instead, you go in with, again, high expectations for yourself, low expectations for others.
Right.
Who can I bless? Who can I encourage? Who can
Yeah.
I ask curious questions to? I found myself more and more looking for the outsider,
Yeah.
that person I can tell, oh, they're not really. I got such a sweet note this week from a young lady that was first time on faculty at the Will. Never and I think first time on faculty at any kind of event
Oh,
like that. And she sent me such a sweet note. She said, "You made me feel so welcome from day one, and then throughout the entire conference, I just felt like um, it was not that she didn't use the word insider, but I just felt like I'd been there. I'd been there forever, and I realized, oh, that was, and I didn't. I wasn't thinking about that."
right.
Like when it was happening, and I don't go to events thinking I hope people will like me. It's even the thing about speaking. I used to go into speaking things wanting people to like me, wanting people to like opener or the illustrations or the conclusion. I
Right.
think less about those things now. I think about the opener. I think about the conclusion.
Right.
I think about what I call the turn. There's always a turn, like it's like the main point of the thing, somewhere in the middle of
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
the plot twist, whatever you want to call it.
Hmm.
But it's not about likability anymore. It's interesting. So it's almost, but again, this is why I need to write it down because I do think some of these things can be learned. Maybe all of them can be learned. It's just harder on certain personalities. What for years I thought that likability was attached to personality. There's just certain personalities that are more likable. They're extroverted, they're fun, they're lighthearted, and some of that's true. Some of that is just personality driven. That's a very likable personality.
Hmm.
But I realize a person that even might have an introverted or a more melancholy temperament can be very, very likable if they'll do certain things. Another one I can't miss. I have to say it. It's so important because I watch this all the time and I have to be watching it myself. I'm trying to be much more conscious of smiling when I'm in public, when I'm doing things. Most people have RBF. You're familiar with that. Resting bitch face. In other words, when they're not thinking about it, their face looks like this. I mean, it just looks angry.
Right.
And it's like, even if you just saw him, like, should I talk to that person? I don't know if I should or not. So
Right.
I'm just trying to think more about just smiling. And it's easier to do that in public. Like when I'm working in the office, I'm not just, it's great. But when I'm with people, I work really hard at smiling. A smile is such a welcoming thing. Just a smile to another person. Um, I did it yesterday. Again, I was on one of my walks in the park over here,
Hmm.
and a lady was coming this way, and She looked a little lost at the dog, but I just smiled and said, hey. And she immediately smiled and said, hey. It was like, oh, that it was just this,
And
it's such a welcoming thing.
don't, this is where you have to look past, you opened, or you were saying something earlier, sometimes you're trying to read someone's face, whether they
Yeah.
kind of want,
Are they even open to interaction?
I don't- for better or worse, I just want to be joyful. Right. I'm not trying
Yeah.
to, and it's like, and I've watched time and time, this just 2, 3 weeks ago, I'm going to Walmart to get gas and a soda, and I'm in there, and there's a gal, and she kind of looks to her, she's um, probably my age, uh, a black lady, and she's kind of quiet, and I just, good morning, or just something like, how you doing? And kind of,
And she slapped you.
well, I watched her. I think there was a moment of surprise, but then she responded, you know, um, "Oh, it's good," and something like, "We're blessed." And I said, "Yeah, God woke us up this morning, didn't he?" And well, he sure did. And
Yeah.
I had a hard. And then suddenly we're in this conversation. Um, I learned she's got 21 grandkids. Seven of them were at her house the night before, so she didn't
Yikes.
get a ton of sleep. And but I mean, she lit up and she started telling this story, and we're just interacting with just the simplest, where there's almost now, maybe culturally, give people their space. And you play that by ear. I mean, I'm not
Right.
saying there's never a moment,
Yeah.
but
No, there is that what you call read the room.
even where people like space, there's something about, even if I don't have to probe with a bunch of questions, but I can be me, which is I love a cheery hello.
Yes.
That is, and here's that helps my heart. Where I'm looking at, this isn't even just me when I'm going in, because guys, I've got all kinds of crap going on in my world now. It's not like, again,
It's not based on
it's to
circumstances
me
being
what I
just
would
right.
call the discipline of being joyful,
Oh,
which is
yeah.
not fake. This isn't me fake. All is wonderful in my world. It is in the moment, seeing joy and also seeing the beauty in another person made in the image of God, where I want to acknowledge, I just want to say, so I do this all the time. It just, hey, good morning, or I'll just say, and I almost never have someone grunt and say nothing, look away. Virtually never happens. And it's often led into a conversation. I can't tell you how many conversations, even a short little 30-second. And I'm learning this guy used to play hockey in Detroit. This that happened a few weeks ago, and I'm talking to some of the 21 grandkids, and that was just out of a little um, just a smile that leads to, and an awful lot of people honestly
Yeah.
want to talk. They sort of want to,
You have to, but they need an invitation.
they need an invitation. They're reading to say, look, and and just like you said, a smile, a big hello is so often an invitation to relax. And maybe someone could witness a little part of my story. She just needed to know, like she says, I needed coffee this morning because it was
Yeah.
a tough night last night, and the grandkids were there, and she needed to say that,
Yeah.
and she got a chance to, just because
You,
someone seemed
and-
interested.
well, and the other thing is here is, and I don't know how this is what I've got to give a lot more thought to. I don't know how it is that a person comes across as safe or unsafe, but you come across as safe to
Hmm.
people.
Hmm.
So they're going to tell you things. I watched it last weekend when I picked up the windows. This wonderful couple, like in their, late 60s.
Right.
And he was helping me like take down the windows and all that. And we're just talking. Of course, I'm just, I'm going to have fun and joke around and stuff like that. But they ended up telling me their story of their 19-year-old son who committed suicide like 12 years before. And
Hmm.
I realized whatever happened in that interaction, they felt safe to tell one of the most vulnerable parts of their story.
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge part of likability, being safe, being interested, genuinely caring. Because we ended up talking about it for a long time. In other words, they felt enough safety to keep. And again, I've got to think through what is that? What does it look like to be safe?
Here's
Some of it is you listen without judgment or interpretation. You ask more questions without them being interrogation. But
I
but
think,
but you have that where people will tell you their story.
and here's where I think if you're writing notes here, I think one of the things is you communicate within a couple seconds of any interaction with people, whether you think they matter.
That's huge.
In other words, I think it's the simplest. Even Jesus
And
talking to this woman at the very first message she got was, I'm getting chills thinking about it. You matter.
and that maybe that is even closer to the crux of a person feels better about themselves or worse about themselves through any interaction. Do I matter?
They remind them that their story matters, their existence. They're in the shadows over
Yes,
here, whatever. They're pouring a drink. They're whatever, and
you're saying
it's
them.
noticing,
Yes.
it's interest, it's engaging, but right, even a smile, um, even something that suggests I notice and like you.
Yeah.
Because the truth matters, maybe the core likability factor is
I like you.
if you like me,
No, it's back to elementary school. I like you. Do you like me? Circle yes or no. I mean, it's that. But like that's a great point, Roger. Likability is when you express to others verbally or non-verbally, I like you.
yes.
That is a huge likability
Yep.
factor.
Yep.
That I got to write that down. That's,
Right.
we don't want to lose that.
People
I,
have like, oh, we like to be liked.
we like to be liked, but it is true. We do like to be liked. There's a few people I've met that don't want to be liked, and I don't fully understand that, but that's okay. This is not a universal thing. I did want to point out one last thing, though, that you do really well that I don't do as well. In other words, I need to learn this more. A likable person
Okay.
is open to feedback from others, open to input from others.
Okay.
I pretend to be open. But I realize it's something I've got to work on. Like even when we were framing at my house last weekend. So, Roger, I've got a way I want this thing framed. And it's a little bit of a moving target because not everything's exactly the same. Although there's similarities, there's going to be two windows
Right.
in each slide. But Roger is he starts framing and then he comes to me and says, "Hey, Bruce, I just want to let you know." He's kind of letting me off the hook. It's okay if you come behind me and like remeasure, or if you see I'm doing something that's not quite right, or even if it's right, but you're not sure. You
It's
just
your
said,
project.
yeah, you said, feel free to ask
Right.
or feel free to point it out. And I'm like, oh, that took so much pressure off me because I didn't want to wait till you were like drinking your drink over there and then whipping out the tape measure and like checking things. But I knew it was going to be important to me to, by the way, all of the windows that you framed, they went in a better and more level. All of mine were a little
Oh, that's not true.
wonkus. It's no, I'm not kidding. All of your sections, they just dropped right in. And we're in, and mine are like, oh gosh, bring the tractor. We're gonna have to push this thing over.
You measured too many times.
I over measured. But I love that
Classic
about you.
over measure.
I just thought about a likability factor. People that are open to input. You can tell coworkers, bosses, employees, the people that you like to work with and don't like to work with. There's a degree to which you don't like to work with people that are not open to input, new ideas,
Yep.
feedback.
Yep.
It's a likability factor. So I'm learning from you. I'm like, I got to get better about that because typically I'm just such an independent person. I don't want a lot of feedback, but I need feedback. I need to grow in this area.
And I am too. So the degree to which that has changed, and I think are elements, is clearly a Jesus thing. It is clearly something that he has had to produce. But because I still feel, yeah, I don't, I never like to be corrected. I don't like,
But even like when we're on the golf course, you'll ask the question, "Hey, do you see something in my swing that I'm doing
well,
wrong?" Which is a complicated question because it's like, where do we start? Do
we started by you just playing golf, actually. That was your first mistake.
So, but you realize I thought about this later. I have never asked anyone if they saw anything in my swing or if there's anything I should adjust or change. I'm not looking for feedback. And in fact, I find it mildly annoying when people give me what I call unsolicited feedback
Yes.
on pretty much anything. So I'm telling you people, I've got to grow because part of likability is receiving feedback Not just acting like it, because I can do. I mean, I have done that many times. Oh, hey, thank you for sharing that. Why don't you go do something else?
I will say this, and you and I have talked about this in the past because and I think it's important to say here, likable people aren't people that avoid all conflict or correction.
Absolutely not. Right.
And the truth is, there are people who can correct you, and as hard as it is for me to take correction, I can feel better afterward.
But when Tim Keller corrects me through some of his videos, because I've never met him personally, I'm
Yeah.
like, I feel better. Yeah, he's so gentle. There's
Right.
a kindness to him.
A grace, a believing the
A
best
great
about.
believing that. Oh, Rod, you talk about likability. Okay,
Yeah.
that's. I mean, we don't have time, but
Yep.
that's huge. Just believing the best about
People
other people.
sense it. When you're starting with the best
If
narrative.
you always start skeptical, that's a low likability factor. And I realize we don't just give our trust to everyone right off the bat, but if you start out literally believing the best, oh, that's because it this is back to what you said. It communicates I like you. I've still got to write that down. I just need likability.
It's so simple yet so profound.
It's existential yet approachable. Likability.
So again, it's like here's this funny thing. Someone can communicate, I matter enough to say something challenging to me. How much just don't have people in
Yeah.
our life where I look and say, I am drawn in the moment. If someone's correcting or bringing up something in that nanosecond, that moment, I am not cheering. I am not. But if I'm sitting in there, I'm realizing how many people in my life, and particularly if they're gracious and
Yeah.
where are the bold people who will actually sometimes say something? It's like,
Because you matter.
I matter enough. They care enough. I know this is a hard conversation. I've had that moment, but yeah, I know this is hard for Joy, my wife, to be bringing that. I know this is, but
So,
gosh,
so think about it. But likability, it creating an easier space for people to have hard conversations
yes,
because you know it's hard for them.
yes,
You're exactly right. If Marlene is talking to me about something that's concerning her or bothering her, I know that's hard for her, and because she's searching for the right word, I can make that easy or I can make that hard.
yes,
And
yes.
here's where I realize, okay, just as I'm wrapping up because we've gone a little long, but that's okay. I've got to do better with Marlena on developing likability because it's like that person you're closest to
Mm,
and you spend the most time with, you can be the most unlikable with.
good point.
For different reasons, I realize part of that's because I'm not in my social self with Marlena. When I'm interacting with other people in public, you have a social self. For
Yeah,
me,
that
that's
makes sense.
that's very strong because I'm an extrovert person. But I need to work on likability around the house so that I'm what I had to say for years was I'm present and I'm pleasant. I'm present and I'm pleasant because I would be that with other people,
But not as
but
likable in private.
but in private I was not as likable. And Marlena had to call me out on that one time, like, "Hey, Bruce, everybody else gets the best version of you, but Zach and I get the worst version of you."
Okay.
And I'm like, "She's right. I've got to be pleasant and present."
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, that's good. That's a good finish.
so be likable. It's so nice to be with you. I love all the things you say and do.
Well, not
Okay,
not
not
everything.
all the things, but
That's too much.
we all can learn more about likability. And I realized like the subtitle for this book would be something like how to have friends and keep them. Because we've all had friends and didn't necessarily keep them, but that's okay. We'll see you maybe in Florida, maybe we won't. Don't know, actually. It's 50-50,
Whatever we're
really.
feeling.
It's what we feel in the moment.